Namaste. So, as we travel through the Yoga Nidra practice, we move from the most gross, most physical layer in the Annamaya Kosha into the Pranamaya Kosha, into the pranic energy field. And we may begin with breath awareness and get into the pranic body. So, let's do a small practice. Sit up straight. So there is a beautiful, clear channel from the base of the spine all the way up through the throat and into the center of the head. Relax the physical body. Feel a wave washing over from the crown of the head, dripping down the sides of the face, neck, shoulders, torso, hips, legs, and feet. Sinking heavily into the supportive surface beneath you. The skin is soft. The bones are heavy. Step away from the physical body now and observe the breath. For you are more than your physical body. Pranamaya Kosha, pranic sheath. Sense your energy field radiating off your physical body a few feet in every direction. Sense and commune with the consciousness of this space around your body. Feel connected and unified to the space around you. Let the life force energy move through you. It is always present, always flowing. Choose now to focus on it. Prana, chi, life force flowing through you. Connect with the energy channels of Ida and Pingala nadis. Beginning their flow from the root of the pelvis, spiraling in opposite directions up the spine, crisscrossing at the energy center junctions along the spine, coming together into the third eye, intensifying the energy into the third eye, self-awareness, inner seeing. Sense their spiral movement from the pelvis to the third eye. The flowing of energy up the nadis are always present, pumping more light into awakening the third eye. Simultaneously, energy is flowing up the center of the body, Sushumna Nadi. Stay anchored in the center of the body. Observe the breath flowing up and down the center channel of the body. Mentally repeat the mantra So Hum while in observation of your breath. So, on the inhale as the breath moves from your navel to throat. Hum on the exhale as your breath moves from throat to navel. Repeat So Hum up and down, navel to throat, throat to navel. Full attentiveness. Continue to mentally repeat the breath mantra So Hum. Now expand your awareness to the field of space around your body once again. Feel this space with your attention. How you feel as energy, energetically. Your home frequency vibration. Continue to sense your signature frequency. Pranamaya Kosha. And when you're ready, feel the heaviness of the physical body return. The grounding at the base of the spine, and the lengthening. And as you're ready, bring hands slowly to heart center as you reorient your space. Nice deep breath in for Om. Namaste. Gently blink open the eyes. Let's take a look here at Pranamaya Kosha. Here's a lovely quote from Amit Ray. Breathing is our participation with the cosmic dance. When our breath is in harmony, cosmos nourishes us in every sense. One of the beautiful things about the breath is that it represents, on the microcosmic level, the expansion and contraction that is painted in such a beautiful way in Indian philosophy. The understanding is that Brahman, the universal consciousness, expands and the gunas go out of balance to create the diversity of matter within Prakriti, or in this case, Vikriti. And so there's this period of expansion, and then consciousness raises and the universe contracts back to the seed form, back to Brahman. And it goes on like this through eons and eons of expansion and contraction. And in the same way, we humans and animals and even the plants, we respire, right? So we inhale and expand, and we exhale and contract. There's such a beautiful analogy here too, because it's within the exhalation that we really see the parasympathetic nervous system coming online and turning on that rest and digest response. And so it's with the exhalation, with the contracting, with the return to Brahman, right? And with each exhalation, we return to Source. And so in this way, this is our participation in the cosmic dance. And when we can come into this harmony of breath and understanding of the microcosmic significance of the breath, then the cosmos are nourishing us in every sense, So let's take a look at the characteristics and purpose of working through Pranamaya Kosha. So breath is a natural action, and it is unique because it's a physiological process that happens without any conscious awareness. But we also can have conscious awareness of it. So we can consciously affect, control, change the space that the breath occupies, and the time and the duration and the counts and so on and so forth. But it's also an unconscious process. So no matter what, our body will breathe us naturally. So when it comes to Yoga Nidra and working with Pranamaya Kosha, the goal is to witness the movement of the breath and eventually the movement of prana within those pranic energy systems without any control. So this is different from pranayama, the control of prana. So in pranayama, we are deliberately exerting some kind of control, as I mentioned, over the space, the count, the number. But in Yoga Nidra, we want to stay as the detached witness and watch the body breathe us. We will often use the technique of counting because counting helps us place our attention and notice when the mind has wandered. So when we lose our count, then we know that the mind has gone on to something else. And so it's a very simple way to sort of catch ourselves with that wandering mind. The counting will help us recognize subtle movements of energy. So as we're counting, We may notice the pace and the different movement of the prana within the system. It also helps us to become one pointed. So, this focusing on this pranamaya kosha, and specifically with the counting, helps us to stay or to come into this state of dharana. Because remember, this is the Yoga Nidra practice, is the pratyahara state. And so, becoming one pointed in our attention and our focus brings us closer and closer to the more meditative states of dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Let's take a look at what's happening in the brain here. So in Pranamaya Kosha, we are connecting conscious, subconscious, and the unconscious states. So the breath itself is controlled in the pons in the brain stem, which is the unconscious. So you can look at the picture here and see where the pons is located down there at the base of the brain, in the brain stem. And this pons area is actually the connection between the frontal lobe and the cerebellum. And recall that the frontal lobe is the seat of our conscious mind, and the cerebellum is the seat of our subconscious mind. And so, in that sense, this coming into this unconscious physiological process and witnessing and watching it, it's sort of at that junction between the conscious and subconscious. Things to remember while you're practicing Yoga Nidra, so this is as the student, you'll want to observe the breath without interfering. And so you may hear the teacher say things like, there's times to control the breath, but in this moment, just watch without trying to change anything about the way that you're breathing. Just notice the breath. You may station your awareness in a place that helps you to stay as the witness and not poke into changing the breath. The counting helps to discipline the mind. So if you're guided to count, use it as a discipline technique for the mind. Use it as a dharana. And so notice if the mind drifts. Maybe it starts to drift off to sleep or into some dream or distracted by something. And use the count to bring yourself back. And remember that every time you bring yourself back to your point of focus, you are building those neuronal connections and your ability to do dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, to concentrate, right? And come into that state of meditative absorption. And so every time you lose your count and you notice that you're somewhere else, you're getting better and better at meditating at one pointed focus, one pointed concentration. And while you're practicing, you may notice that you feel prana moving in the body, and it might be a tingling or warm sensation, or it may feel as if all the cells in a certain part of the body are vibrating. And all of this is normal. It's just feeling the movement of energy within you. How to practice in the Pranamaya Kosha. So we want to have detached awareness of breath. There's the option of watching from different locations within the body. So there's different parts of the body where it's more easier to access and watch the breath. So you may station your focus at the nostrils or the root or the bridge of the nose, the back of the throat, the center of the chest, or the abdomen. And here you'll just witness and watch the spontaneity of the breath without any control. You'll stay there and watch. You'll feel the texture, the sensations that arise, the mechanics of the breath, and you'll follow through the entire cycle, from the edges of the nostrils, from the outside of the body, all the way into the lobes of the lungs, and isolate awareness then from its identity with the brain, and focus the concentration on those movements of breath. And this will bring the relaxation even deeper. So that's one technique within Pranamaya Kosha, is just to station the awareness at a certain location in the body and watch the entire cycle from start to finish, and then again cycling over and over. Another technique, as I mentioned, is the mental counting. So this helps to keep our attention stable, and you'll count down. So you may use those sacred numbers like 108, and you'll say inhaling 108, exhaling 108, inhaling 107, exhaling 107. And when practicing, you may drift off. And again, you'll just catch that moment when you've lost your awareness and come back. This brings the attention deeper into what's actually controlling the breath. Remember, the pons and the medulla within the brain stem are what's controlling the breath. So we're bringing ourselves into the unconscious. We're staying aware within the unconscious mind. And we're developing our ability to start to expand and broaden our flashlight of awareness into the unconscious. And so it's like with anything, the more we practice, the easier it gets to remain aware within the unconscious, within the otherwise unconscious processes. Okay, another technique is to connect with the pranic system. So you may bring your awareness into the different energy centers and feel the energy that's there. So if you're leading a yoga nidra, you may take the practitioner, as we did today, into the nadis, or you may take them into each of the chakras and feel the energy within each one. You don't want to ask the student to see anything at this state, because you really want them to have a sense for, an awareness of this unconscious physiological process. And you don't want to put any ideas or visualizations in their mind, because those visualizations come later. Right now, we're focused on feeling the energy. So, in a quieter state, the potential to meet the energy there is much stronger. So, we'll bring the practitioner into a state of connection with the consciousness in each vortex and feel the vortex that's there. So you may take them to the Sushumna Nadi, to the astral channel, which is the channel between the navel and the throat. You'll focus more and more into the central nervous system, and that also will deepen the practitioner into the brain, going down into that most primitive part of our brain, in the brain stem. And so the practitioner will start to feel the nervous system as energy. So the idea here is to hold open attention to the prana system. You may feel the river currents of energy, the nadis. Again, we don't want to visualize, but just to go so quietly with awareness inside the body so that you can make contact with them. And so this is not a theoretical practice. This is a practice to actually experience these subtle energy systems within the body. And you can take the practitioner as subtle as you want here. You may have them experience the auric field. the space around the body, sometimes, imagined as this sort of egg shape of energy around the body. And from there, you may sense how far the energy is actually radiating off of your body, finding that subtle boundary within space and sensing how it's expanding and condensing. Remember that expansion and contraction within the breath and pranic movement. Okay, another technique here is to use the repetition of mantra. So we use the so hum in this meditation. There's Hung Sao, which is a bija mantra corresponding to the vibration of the astral current. It's what activates the inhale and exhale into movement. Awareness of the energy that is moving the breath. So it may be sensed as vibration of movement or of sound current, and it's the prana that's actually moving that current, moving that breath. And of course, so hum is the natural sound of the breath. So how do we guide someone into the Pranamaya Kosha? So first of all, this Pranamaya Kosha technique can be a standalone practice. Breath awareness is an incredibly powerful tool for anchoring awareness, anchoring concentration, and bringing a student away from the mental chatter of the neocortex and deeper into those quieter states of mind. And so, very powerful practice that is often used, just as a standalone. So when you're teaching the Pranamaya Kosha part of Yoga Nidra, you'll not want to cue anything that will activate visualization. So we don't want to take them yet into the visual centers of the brain because we want to have them experience a direct connection with the energy field itself. And so the cueing should be a felt sense experience of the energy body. With most people, breath awareness and counting is enough to accomplish what you want to do in this practice, which is have that felt sense of the energetic field. And if you're working with someone who's a little bit more advanced in the practices of yoga and especially of Yoga Nidra, that's when you may go deeper into those pranic systems like the nadis and the chakra centers. From Pranamaya Kosha, next video we'll work with Manomaya Kosha and the opposite sensations. So let's close here. Sit up straight, hands together at the heart. Deep inhale for Om. Namaste.